So, are you a Brooklyn hipster in search of your inner Martha Stewart? Or maybe you want to turn your earphones into cheap speakers? Well, join a large community of people who are making their own stuff instead of buying it off the shelf. Call them makers, hackers, crafters, or DIYers. This community has become such a creative force that the Industrial Designers Society of America themed their 2010 conference, DIY Design, Threat or Opportunity. I know what my answer is. I love the trend. I hate the name. Hi, my name is Avinash Rajagopal, and I'm here to explain why this new creative movement is so revolutionary, what it should mean to us in the design community, and where its true potential lies. But first, let's rewind a little. Back to April 1976, when Steve Wozniak brought this little wooden box into the Homebrew Computer Club, a hacker group founded in 1975. Hackers are usually interested in software, in breaking codes and modifying programs. But the Homebrew Computer Club was a turning point. These hackers were interested in hardware, in the nuts and bolts, in actually building computers. Now say hello to the MakerBot, a little wooden box that promises to do for manufacturing what the Apple I first did for computing. It will bring it to your desktop, into your hands. Developed in 2009, the MakerBot is a 3D printer in that it takes files from a computer and converts them into real objects, literally printing plastic. But it costs under $1,000 and it sits on your table. Like the Homebrew Computer Club, the guys who created MakerBot, Bree Pettis, Adam Mayer, and Zach Hoken, are also hackers who make real stuff. The price and the size are great, but that's not the most exciting bit. This is. Thingiverse is a website run by MakerBot Industries where users share with each other the computer files for all the things they make. Want to convert your drill into a lathe machine? Just download the files and print them on the MakerBot. Have a different kind of drill? Download the file, modify it before you print it. Then somebody realized that if you can hack power drills, you can modify the MakerBot itself. A user called Zydak used his MakerBot to print these red extenders and then used them to make his MakerBot bigger. Nothing is sacred to these hackers. Bolts are meant to be unscrewed. Boxes are meant to be opened. Metis is the name of the Greek goddess of cunning. Incidentally, the mother of the Greek goddess of wisdom, Athena. But the French philosopher Michel Certeau uses it to describe the strategies by which we, as consumers, try to be creative in this mass-produced world. Hunter's cunning, he calls it. Joyful discoveries, poetic and warlike. Hackers are constantly using Metis, and they are constantly making joyful discoveries, like this one. Each MakerBot comes with a full set of assembly drawings. So it was only a matter of time before a user called Webka found a way to make most of the parts of a MakerBot on a MakerBot. Bree Pettis is not kidding when he calls the MakerBot the first crowdsourced object in the world. MakerBots are open. Buy one and you can make one. What's more, you can use your Metis and make a better one. And if MakerBot likes your version, they'll modify their product. With open design, there is no final object. There is no prototype. Only multiple variants. But what does all this mean for designers? So let's step back again, this time in design history, to 1974, a year before the Homebrew Computer Club was founded. This is a great DIY classic. The Italian designer Enzo Mari created Autoprogettazioni, or Auto Project. It's a series of 16 pieces of furniture, but Mari sold the drawings and instructions instead of the pieces. There's been a lot of interest in this project recently. Artec reissued the series in the Milan Furniture Fair last year, and artists and designers are making their own versions of Auto Project. My favorite is this one. In 2010, art critic Greg Allen made his own Auto Project table, but using only IKEA parts. He calls it the Auto Project IKEA mashup. I love this project for two reasons. One is that Enzo Mari has said time and again that he hates IKEA. The second reason is a larger global phenomenon called IKEA hacking. People are buying IKEA kits and then ignoring the instructions, meter style. They're making Frankensteins, like this bedside chair, come table, come lamp, or these speakers made of salad bowls. But as in the case of the MakerBot, the more interesting aspect of IKEA hacking is this, a website set up in 2006 by the Malaysian blogger MoMA. The projects here are more mundane, more like, how do I make these shelves fit in my apartment? But there's a thriving discussion here, people improving on each other's ideas. They're not just doing it for themselves, they're helping each other. They know they're part of a larger community. We need to make this conceptual shift from Enzo Mari's kit of parts to the IKEA hacker community. When we say do it yourself, we usually also mean do it for yourself. Do things to your liking. We need to lose that idea, because now people are actually doing it for everyone. Once we see that it's really about community, then we can see all sorts of possibilities. Maker Faire Africa, where hackers and makers from all over Africa gather to exchange ideas, is like an offline version of Thingiverse. And they want to change a whole continent. Here's another possibility. This is the Fab Lab house, built by the Institute of Advanced Architecture of Catalonia in Barcelona. It's a net zero house in that it generates all its energy needs, and it was entered into the 2010 Solar Decathlon. But it is also digitally fabricated. Large computer-controlled machines cut those pieces of wood into those fantastic shapes. But again, here's the juicy bit. The computer file that controlled that machine was a parametric model. So depending on whether your house will be in New York or in New Delhi, you can change the settings for temperature, sunlight, and wind direction. The model will then adjust itself so that the house can make best use of natural resources, even more sustainable. The design is the system that makes this possible. Each differently shaped house is just a variation. Here's another open design project that takes a different tack. For his open structures project, the Belgian designer Thomas Lomé created a small set of components, then invited his students, friends, and then the world at large to add their own components to that pool. The only condition, the pieces must all fit together. Lomé's dream is that one day you can make almost anything from that pool. A coffee maker, a kitchen, a house, and if a part breaks down, you can always find a replacement. Sustainability via modularity. Buckminster Fuller, that visionary champion of sustainable design, saw the whole universe in much this way. Energy systems, of which all our experiences are only local instances. In his ecotopia, there is no waste. Today's soda can is tomorrow's bottle hull, boat hull, useful things become other useful things. Within the past 4 months, there's been a surge of interest in open design. A MakerBot has been acquired by the Cooper Hewitt, much like the Smithsonian bought the Apple I. The Economist promises a manufacturing revolution. Droog is starting up an open design lab. But the discussion is still being held in DIY terms. How can each consumer make products for themselves? But open design is a way to design for everyone, to exclude no one. We shouldn't just be using our metis to make more stuff. We should be using it to make more responsible, cleaner, better stuff. Thank you.
to say, your opening line, are you a Brooklyn hipster, I have to get this right, looking for your inner Martha Stewart? That's a movie or a book trying to be made.
Yeah, well, not a personal dig.
So, speaking of, so what is your connection to this community?
I guess my connection is really that I studied industrial design, and I worked as a designer for a few years. But I've also always been interested in social responsibility and sustainability and social change. That's a product of many things. But I've always felt that we're looking at these problems, these new problems with old paradigms. And I was always on the search for something that would help us kind of unpack these things. And to me, it seemed like both these problems, social responsibility and sustainability, are essentially about people. And there needs to be some kind of a community-based model for design, right? I mean, sustainability, as we've often said, is not about objects. It's about people. It's about behavior. You know, it's about how you do things. And yeah, I think, yeah.
No, and that goes to the core. I mean, the core of your presentation. And the big question is this new paradigm fated to be marginalized? Or do you think it will be kind of brought into the mainstream of how people think about design and social responsibility?
That's a little bit like asking in 1976 if desktop computers were going to be mainstream. I mean, it's a field that's still in formation. You know, economic models are being sorted out. People are trying to figure out how to make money with this stuff. There's a lot of experimentation going on. But to me, it's not so much whether this will come true, but rather that it should. You know, and that's in our hands. You know, I mean, I feel like this is a field of engagement for us, and we should be involved. Designers here and outside should be working with this stuff. They should be talking to these people.
And do you see signs of that happening? I mean, because I know that you've been down on the ground, you've been to a lot of these meetings. I mean, give us news from the front. Is it beginning to happen?
Yes, it is. I mean, in many ways, MakerBot was called into the Cooper Hewitt to do a workshop with teenagers there, and that's a nice start. But also, I mean, I was lucky enough to be able to visit the Institute of Advanced Architecture of Catalonia, and they're extending these ideas to all kinds of things. They're working with favelas in Colombia, and they came to India, to Mumbai, to Dharavi, and they're not saying that, you know, all these people should be satisfied with satisfying needs. They're saying, you know what, these people have lifestyles. You know, it doesn't matter if you're poor or you're rich, you still have a lifestyle, you still make choices. And they deserve, you know, the best technology. They deserve what is possible today, right? And to me, that's a revolutionary idea, to say that, you know, makers, like people in Africa or people in India, or whatever, however you want to put it, that somehow their problems are so basic that the solutions have to be basic. And I hate that idea. I feel everybody needs design. Everybody makes lifestyle choices. People decorate their homes. People buy stuff. They do things, right? And this seems to be a model that gives us that hope, that says, you know what, these people can take things into their own hands and be creative. They can create their own design, and they can make things that are relevant to them.
Again, we can continue this for a long time. We do have to take a break. We're going to reconform and come back as a panel discussion. But these are passionate, important issues, and I hope everyone takes time to talk to the students underneath the existential question mark.
Thank you.